Okay, as we continue here with modeling a hand, I've went ahead and took a couple steps ahead to kind of show you where I'm going with this. This face here, this edge right here, I did not extrude. Once I got it up to the finger, I pretty much stopped it right there. So then I went and extruded the other 4 sections, I guess you could call them. And you can see what I did here in the wireframe mode is I extruded it out a couple times. And what our next step is to do is to start working these points into their final spot. And of course we know that this point eventually is going to work its way to the end of the finger, as well as this one over here. But we have 1, 2, 3 points that have to work their way to 1, 2, 3 breaking points. So I'm going to continue by going back into my perspective view, kicking on my polygon, and throwing in a 15 to extrude a little bit of time. Now, once I get up to a certain point, I'm going to have to go ahead and lose that nice straight line that I've been working with, and I think it's going to happen right about here. These creases in the finger are very important for us to follow. And the reason is because when the hand bends, the creases is where the skin actually bends up, and we need to simulate that when we got to animate this hand. So we'll do one more set of 15 here, and there we go. Now I have something to work with here. I'm going to pull that down here. I'm going to pull that point right there to the center in between the 2 fingers, as well as do that with the rest of the hand. Okay, now again, we're not too concerned with the smoothness. We're going to go ahead and use a smoothing command when we get to the very end. It's going to help us out. But we do want to influence these vertices to move in a nice pattern to kind of contour with the hand. Now that we're done, before we move on to the fingers, make sure you save so that you don't lose your work. We're going to come over and look at the side. Now, looking in the left view, that's a pretty flat hand. And if you look at your hand, if you pick it up and you put it to the side, you'll notice that around your wrist and your palm is a lot thicker than the tip of your fingers. So if we had more time, we'd actually take a picture of our hand, drop it in Max, and model it out. That would be the best way to do it. But for this lesson, we're just going to go ahead and fudge it. And we can do that by selecting vertices. And you can come over here to the top view and say, click the very bottom, all of the vertices in the very bottom of that, and you'll see in that left view where they're at. You can take your scale tool and pretty much scale in one direction. Now, I'm grabbing the little green arrow, so I'm only pulling straight up. You can see that I'm not scaling uniformly in all directions. But I'm going to scale those up. And then what I'll do is just pretty much bring all of these up just a little bit, starting to taper them down. And this is going to simulate how the hand will eventually taper down to the fingers. And we're not going for perfection here. Just more of an illusion, if anything, of how the hand would actually taper off. You can spend a little bit more time with that if you'd like. And I know it's from the left view, you're not going to get as much out of that until you've actually finished it up and then compared it in the perspective view. And that's a start. Okay, and you can go back in and fine-tune that, but eventually what we wanted to do is get to a certain point where the fingers taper off, and that's about, yeah, it's about there. We'll go a little thicker at this point and just kind of fudge this in. Okay. Now when you notice in the perspective view that the hand is a lot thicker at the base, and then it gets thin towards the fingers. Now we're going to go out and we're going to create a finger. And we're going to do that, we're going to do one finger at a time by going out and back into polygon, selecting off of all the polygons, and let's pick the pointer finger. So I'm going to click these 3 segments. Notice here in the top view it highlights the pointer finger. And I'm going to do the same procedure that I've been doing, but notice I have the crease there. There's 2 creases, so I'm going to go ahead and extrude just a little bit. Just enough to create that fold. I'm going to go ahead and manipulate that around. And then I'm going to go ahead back to polygon, and I'm going to stretch it out some more. Now, I could actually go right up to the next section. In fact, I'm going to let go. And with that face, I can actually move that face like this. And we don't have to worry about any bending here because the bones in your hand don't allow that part of your hand to bend. But we do have a crease here, a joint, so we're going to have to go ahead and extend it a little bit more. Just enough to get past the crease. Stop, which is going to put a segment in there. And then we're going to add another one. And I'm just going to let go and move that up to, move that face up to the next section. And I'm going to go ahead and move that around a little bit so that it contours with the actual picture. Now we're going to do one more here. Go back into face. Extend it out a little bit just because there's a little bend in the skin. Stop. Redo it again. This time I'm going to move that up here to the very edge. I'm going to go ahead and move those points just to kind of taper off. And I'm going to go ahead and extrude one more time just to give the finger a little bit of a taper on the end. Now this is a delicate process. Timing, there is a lot of timing in this, and I'm not going to show you the entire hand, but I'm just going to go ahead and show you a couple key features of the finger. And then you can conclude with your next video. If you notice this finger here, and just for argument's sake, I'm going to go ahead and change the object properties on this project. I'm going to change it back, turn the see-through off, and hit OK. And that'll give me the ability to give a better look at this. Notice the finger's real flat. And I want to round that finger off a little bit. And the best way to do that is we're going to go ahead into the perspective view. And I'm going to select all of the points that make up the finger. Now, I'm not part of the hand, but I'm holding my control key and I'm selecting all the vertices that are used on just the top part. Now, I don't want to window them in the top view because then that's going to select all vertices that it's stacked on top of. I just want the top of the hand. Once I have that, I can take my scale tool, come to the middle of my transform gizmo, and click to the left, and it's slowly scaling all these inward towards the pivot point. That's not round, it's edged, but when we round this thing off at the smooth, that'll work. Now we can do that to the bottom as well. You can flip the hand over here. Do the same thing. Go in with your move tool. Select your top. Just the top pieces. Grab your scale tool and go ahead and scale that up a little bit. So now it's got a little bit more definition to it. It's not perfect, but it does look a little bit more round. When we go to apply the mesh smooth to it, that'll round it off as well. Okay, so that ends this lesson. I'm going to go ahead and throw 4 more fingers on there and the thumb. And then I'm going to show you some other techniques to make the hand look a little bit more real. But go ahead and save at this point. Knock out the other 3 fingers, which is the same procedure, and the thumb is not really any different either. And then we'll see you in the next lesson.